I've been shooting my bow now for just about over a year. One thing I've always wanted to get into was arrow building. So I'm going to attempt that today. I have been picking up or making the necessary tools to perform this process. So what we have here is my current arrows that I'm shooting. I've got a bunch of those fletched that I bought fletched. These are the Easton 5mm full metal jacket. Of course, you can see here, this is just the bare shaft. So I'm going to be spin testing those. I'm going to be putting them on my arrow cutter that I built myself. I've got a G5 swearing tool. There's my arrow spinner. I've got some wraps, some fletchings over there. The thought process behind this is to have better control over the accuracy of the arrows. What I mean by that is when cutting an arrow, this is just the research I've done. Cutting the arrow, sometimes this side might be more, when you spin test it down here, one side might wobble more than the other. If that's the case, you want to cut more off that end, whereas maybe you want to cut equal amounts off both ends. That's where if you buy them fletched, obviously you've got to take it from the one end and the one end only to meet the length of arrow that you desire. So what I'm looking for is this end right here and the other end, but I'm going to see how much it wobbles. So that side looks pretty good. I'm going to flip this over just so you can see the other side. See the difference? It's hard to pick up on camera. This side has that other side is actually quite straight. This side slightly wobbles. So with this arrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the length that I need to cut off of this one side. Now I've spun test some of the other arrows, and what I found is I need to take probably about an equal amount off each side, or maybe 1 inch, 3 inches. Change of plans a little bit. So instead of doing all 6 of these, I'm actually going to finish just one. So last night I took one of the inserts and I put it inside this arrow. I didn't use the epoxy that comes with this because I'm just doing one. So I used some Pine Ridge glue. Hopefully that's not going to create a problem. We'll see. But the point is I want to finish one complete arrow and shoot that for a little bit. That way if I haven't done things right, I haven't ruined all 6 arrows. It's just one that needs to be fixed or thrown away. One of the other advantages of doing your own arrow fletching that I have read is a lot of people seem to suggest that lining up your fletching with your broadhead will make the arrow fly a lot better. So that's what I'll do now, is I'll insert the broadhead, get the broadhead set up. Now I know exactly where to line up my fletchings with my broadhead. See, now if I screw this up, I've only screwed it up on one arrow. And I can come back with lessons learned, do it again. I've watched a bunch of videos on this, which is nice, but there's nothing better than actually doing it. Another thing I did before this is I actually dry fit the fletching to the shaft. And what I noticed is as I actually picked this up and looked at the underside, that fletching was floating far off the shaft. So I had to make some more adjustments, dry fit it until it was on there good. So that was an important step that I learned, is dry fit before you glue. All right, there's my first one I've ever done. You probably can't see, but so what happened is when I pulled this jig off, the back end of the fletching was off the, came off the shaft. So I don't know if maybe I just didn't give it enough care pulling that off or what, but that's what I'm saying. You learn by doing. There's my wrap. There's my arrow. I'm starting over. Following a series of cuss words, I have started my same arrow, second attempt. First vein went on perfect. Second vein, I'm a little worried about it. I think I'm trying to dial in how much glue I need to use, so, oh yeah. Okay. I think that vein will work. There is the finished product. Took me a couple times to get it, but now we'll let this dry, and of course I gotta take it out and shoot it and see how well those veins stay on. Hopefully, if I've done my job right, they'll be good. That's what I was going through, is a pass-through, or at least to bury that fletching in there. So not quite a full pass-through, but they're still on there. That's a good sign. That's a full pass-through. I've got a target set up in the back behind this one. Fletching's still good. Still looking good. Going to count that as a success with those pass-throughs, those fletchings staying on there. I think I may have noticed some fishtailing on that arrow, so I'll have to assess that out a little bit more, and then of course do a lot more testing of going to various distances, testing accuracy with this compared to those that came already fletched. So what I'm going to do is actually fletch 5 more arrows. Then I'll have a complete set of half dozen to play with and continue to learn on this journey of archery, guys. This is just a fantastic, amazing thing that I've got into. I'm loving it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.